Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and do you remember how back in the day, whenever I would draw the curtains, that means I was like shutting up shop for the evening, and I would promise myself to do like one final song, and then we'd call it a night there. I don't know why I did that. That made no sense. It's only like 20 to 10 at night. I'm good for like another hour at this, because you would have thought that staying awake for a good, like, 16 hours at this point would make me feel delirious, or that there was something wrong with me in the fact that I literally do not stop. But no, you're wrong. You're right. I don't stop, but I keep going because I love it. And I've loved everything about this album so far. And technically, we're only 2 songs into it. Now, if Shout was a song that made me fall in love with its message, and Working Hour was a song with what I loved about what it represented, what could Mother's Talk teach us? So, let's do this. So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. So let's begin. Mother's Talk in 3, 2, 1, and... Oh. Okay. Fuck it out. We can work it out. like a 1980s disco track, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, that was Mother's Talk by Tears for Fears. That was a very, very different change of pace again, ladies and gentlemen. It played literally like it played like it plays like the sort of song I would be expecting to hear on Top of the Pops, like for maybe okay, so maybe for the slightly old, if there's anybody out there who's under the age of, let's say, 46, cast your mind back for a second, because those who ever watched Top of the Pops in, let's say, the mid 80s would know that, and possibly maybe the mid 90s as well, is that whenever it was like Simon Blackburn I was either presenting, or it might have been somebody else, they would often do like live performances in studios where it would basically be just a bunch of guys with like no stage direction who would just stand there and perform, whilst there would be like smoke coming from the ground, maybe some people just dancing, maybe throwing balloons, or some very hastily rushed together set. But it was really, really good. I really liked it because I've seen parts of it myself, and it's cheesy, it's a little bit cheap, but they're having a really good time. I'm not kidding. I think that's important. I think it's really, really important. You can watch it right now as well. It's like BBC 4 on a Friday night at like 7:30. They'll stick on Top of the Pops from either the mid 80s or like the mid 90s or something like that. So just to get back on track for a second right now, I almost feel as I'm like almost wanting to talk into this seems a little bit like pointless. Well, not pointless, but I think the idea behind the song is that it's like the friendship almost between a mother and child, and how they've got to raise you ready for the world. But it seems almost like this is raising a mother for the outside world, that it's the hardest job in the world. So I think that the struggle is not in terms of like raising kids, but rather raising an ideal mother, or someone who has to understand that this is the single hardest job in the world, but it means absolutely everything. And it's the sort of thing I literally can almost have no other say in, because I would only succeed as a father, not a mother. But what I will say right now, it doesn't play like that. That's the only other thing, is that it plays like something you would hear on Top of the Pops. Something I would imagine I would hear being played at maybe like a gay-friendly bar, or maybe some other like like. There's this great bar in Newcastle. It's a very low-run venue. It's called Sgt. Pepper's, and yes, it is based basically after the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's. But I do have a mate at work who on Friday nights, and I think he does Saturdays as well, he DJs at this bar, and he specializes in stuff from the 80s and the 90s, and from the early to late 2000s. So I'd imagine in some very strange way this would absolutely be on that list. If it wasn't for the fact that the bar shuts at like 11 and stuff like that, and it's all out by about 11:30 at night, you can literally keep this going on all night. Because I'm pretty sure there are some venues that do just play stuff like this all night long. And to be honest, the only other time I've ever done, like, I've ever partied all night long was during my leaving do at the very end of sixth form in secondary school when I was 18 years old, over 6 years ago. And to be honest, I kind of almost want to do it again. I want to party all night long. If they played this, Life After Love, there are thousands of other like classic club tunes as well. I'm pretty sure I could go through the list. Do You Believe After Life After Love? What's the other one? It's not the What Is Love, but there's one other really big one. God, mate, what is it? Hang on, let me do a quick check. Come on, baby, let's just... Clubland Classic 90s. Better Off Alone, that's what it is. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I think what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to set 195 million views, and it's 12 years old. I think what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to listen to this by Alice DJ for a little bit of about a good 30 minutes, dance to it, maybe have a drink or something. Like, it's Tuesday night, you know, and I'm not, you know, and then come back to you guys. So I think I'm going to have a bit of a good time. Or maybe just play Mother's Talk again. That's something I could do. Mother's Talk, and then working hour, like, late into the night when everyone is, like, partied out or something like that. So, party on, ladies and gentlemen. Something to remember. Party on.